Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. So the Premier League season is ready to take a break after this weekend's football, and then it's World Cup time. And I can't lie, I haven't really got into the World Cup mood just yet. It doesn't feel like the World Cup's around the corner. Obviously, we usually have the festive fixture list around this period. Loads of games coming thick and fast in the domestic campaign. But that isn't going to be the case. It's going to be a World Cup. And Gareth Southgate has picked his World Cup squad. And as usual, Gareth Southgate is gonna Gareth Southgate. Yes, he's picked some of his favourites who probably don't deserve to be in the team. There's some odd omissions as well. But let's not lie here. Mostly, this squad is predictable. And that is the problem with Gareth Southgate. But I'll get stuck into that in a little bit, and we'll get that squad out for you guys as well. I want you lot to let us know what your thoughts are on the England squad ahead of the World Cup. Get your thoughts in the comments below. Right, let's get stuck into this. First up, in goal, Jordan Pickford, Nick Pope, Aaron Ramsdale. Now, I don't think there's any shocks there. Nick Pope's been excellent for Newcastle. Aaron Ramsdale's been good for Arsenal. They sit top of the league at the moment. And we all know Jordan Pickford's is number one. I'm not a fan of Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford, though, is regularly selected for England. I don't think that is a shock at all. Especially when you look at the competition as well. Like Ramsdale has recently come good, but, you know, Pickford's probably been ahead of him for a longer period. Nick Pope, you know, playing excellently well for Newcastle at the moment. You know, not as much international experience. So you understand that one. All right, cool. No dramas there. Then you look at the defenders. All right, we got Luke Shaw, John Stones, Eric Dyer, Harry Maguire, Kieran Trippier, Connor Cody, Trent, Ben White and Kyle Walker. Now, Trent is probably being selected because Reece James isn't available. So he can count himself lucky to be in there. I think he should be in the England squad for the World Cup regardless. But, you know, he probably wouldn't have been in there. And he'll probably be sitting on the bench for a lot of that, despite the fact that the manager usually plays about 3 or 4 or 5 right backs. But you look at that and you think, how the hell is Harry Maguire in this squad? Now again, just like Jordan Pickford, he's someone that's relied upon by the manager. The manager's picked him a lot. He played at the Euros, etc., the World Cup, whatever. But he's been so abysmal. And you see with the manager, he picks some players on form, some players on reputation. There's never any consistency. Like if you're Jadon Sancho and you hit bad form, you can get dropped from the squad. But if you're Harry Maguire and you hit bad form, you're not going to get dropped from the squad. What's going on there? And then to make matters worse, the likes of Tomori are left out. Fikayo Tomori, who won Serie A. Now, I don't think it's a surprise that Tomori's not in the squad and Harry Maguire is. So I'm not going to feign any surprise at that. But it just goes to show you the problems with the manager. He doesn't integrate these players, talented players, very good footballers into the squad when we've got all these qualifiers, all these Nation League games where we're getting pumped left, right and centre, playing the usual suspects. Instead of, you could integrate players into the squad. You could give other players an opportunity. Players who have more talent than Harry Maguire at centre-back, for example. That's just one of the examples. I think Ben White deserves his selection. He's played at right-back for England as well. For Arsenal as well as centre-back. So, all right, flexible there. But you just think, it's the same old, no matter how good certain players are in certain positions, you know, they're always going to be picked, even if they're abysmal. But then if you're other players and you hit a bad bit of... It's just... The geezer just loves cloggers. Absolute cloggers. That's what he wants. In midfield, you got Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, James Maddison and Conor Gallagher. James Maddison finally being picked for England. There's a shock. Now, he's probably not going to get any football either. But he has actually been selected. But this is his first call-up in God knows how long. So now you decide to call him up. You could have integrated him into the squad way earlier. You could have been picking a team that plays football way earlier. Yet we're going to go to a World Cup after getting slapped up in the Nations League. And these players aren't going to get a sniff because, oh yeah, you know, they've not played much football for England recently. You know, they've got to get embedded into the squad. I think Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, good selections. If Jordan Henderson's there to be the experienced head around the camp, alright, fair enough. But if he's playing, there's problems. Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, Conor Gallagher. Alright, cool. But Calvin Phillips hardly played any football. Again, some players can just miss loads of football. And it'd be interesting, if Calvin Phillips was at Leeds, would he be in this squad, having missed so much football? I don't know. Then we look at the forwards. Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Bukayo Saka, Marcus Rashford, Callum Wilson. It's good to see Rashford back in. His form's been good for United this season. But Callum Wilson over Ivan Toney. Really? I think Callum Wilson's been very, very good for Newcastle. But over Ivan Toney, Callum Wilson, I just think that's a shock. Personally, I think Ivan Toney, I know Callum Wilson can take pens as well, but he's a penalty specialist, free kick specialist. If anything happens to Harry Kane, you'd much rather Ivan Toney leading United. No Jadon Sancho. To be fair, he's not been in form. You know what? Who would you put him ahead of? Maybe Raheem Sterling, who's also not been in form. But he's done well for England in the past. He's not going to get ahead of Foden at this point. Grealish at this point. Saka, who's been playing well for Arsenal. You know, Rashford, who's been playing well for United. He's not going to get ahead of any of them. So, understandable. But again, he must look at Harry Maguire at training at United and think, bruv, I scored against Liverpool this season after, you know, I scored a couple match winners this. You barely get off the fucking bench and you're going to the World Cup. So as usual, the manager has his favourites, and he just clearly doesn't like others. Ivan Toney got selected for England, didn't even get a sniff. What's the fucking point? Give some of these guys a chance. Do you know what I mean? And it'll be typical for England. Go to the World Cup, probably get through the group. You know, they'll make hard work of an easy group. They'll get through that. First decent team to come up against, get knocked out. And some of you are going to say, yo, Adam, why are you being so critical? He got to a semi-final and a final. Croatia should have been beaten. And let's be real, the Italy team that we lost against should have been beaten. So, yeah, I think any decent manager does that with this England team, and I think most decent managers play a better brand of football. They integrate better footballers into the team, and they probably win one of those trophies. Maybe I'm being unfair. Let me know your thoughts anyway, but if I wasn't up for the World Cup before, the World Cup squad's expected, but I'm not up for it much now. Anyway, make sure you're keeping it locked. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing and subscribe. Good job, I won't be doing many World Cup streams anyway. So, you know, don't have much to complain about. Anyway, keep it locked. See you in a bit.